welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're good. I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're having a good time with your friends and family at home. I am good. I am safe and I'm having a good time at home. First of all, before we get into what I intend for us to talk about today, I'd like to thank all of you who came to my inbox. For those who have my number, my DM, for those who follow me on Instagram, and just however you came to just suggest on how to improve the space. Thank you very much. However, I'd like to state something. I'd like to tell you that I like to pace myself. Sorry, so much liking that. I'd like to pace myself because I think one of the things that I'm learning to say is that life is a journey, and we're not rushing to a destiny. We are in a destiny, and the destiny is a journey. We are not rushing to a destination, so there's no need of being in a hurry to do everything at once. So I'd like to pace myself. Okay, all of your suggestions are going to be implemented. I promise you. I don't know, probably tomorrow, probably the next video, probably 10 years from now, but all your suggestions are going to be implemented. We're here for the long haul, so I'm not in a hurry to do things. Okay, I'd like us to grow together. I'd like us to learn together. I'd like us to just get to these spaces together and not just rush, because this is the good ideas, because they are actually good ideas. Yeah, let me just leave it at that. Okay, as you can see down here, today we're going to be talking about dealing with our past. I know that this is a broad thing, but please remember that I am bringing you on board my personal process, so I might not cover everything about dealing with my past, with your past. Also, I might not have answers to all the questions concerning dealing with your past. And also I might not be sharing everything concerning what I know about what I know concerning dealing with your past. Okay, so you might ask me a question, because I've noticed that this is something that happens. People come to my inbox and they ask me questions based on what I have shared, and sometimes I honestly do not have answers, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I don't have an answer to that yet. It's not that I will never have an answer, but I don't have an answer to that yet. Okay, so yeah, just that. Okay, so today we're going to be having a bit of storytelling, because it involves what I'd like you to say about dealing with your past. So I had two incidences in April. Okay, there were two incidences in April. The first one was my falling. No, that was not falling, that was an accident while riding a bicycle. Let me not talk about the second one yet. Let's talk about the bicycle incident. I learned how to ride a bicycle at 9 years old, but since then, every time I get back at it, I always have an injury. I'm not talking about a bruise on your knee or a small wound somewhere. No. I'm talking about accidents. Really bad things. The first time my big toe was bleeding profusely, and of course I know most of you have heard about this thing. I think the way you know how you know that you've learned how to ride a bicycle is that you fall and you get injured. So I remember my first time riding a bicycle at 9 years old. I lived with my cousin Chico, so shout out Chico if you're watching. Yeah, I ran to her and told her that I've learned how to ride a bicycle, and at that time nilikuwa tu nimeamka, like I just not reason. Okay, I just stood up after falling and getting hurt really bad, and my big toe was bleeding profusely. Okay, then the second time I dislocated my hand. The third time I dislocated. The fourth time I dislocated my hands. I'm not sure how to call, but this one here, no, this one was another injury. Okay, guys, yeah, I was not playful. I don't know why I always broke my hands. My dislocated, not broke, but yeah, I always had a cast. Yeah. Oh, but it is what it is. It used to happen, but anyway, that's not the point of what I'm sharing. Yeah, so now last month, actually in December, I rode a bicycle again and I fell. Guys, I fell. I fell. All right. Now, recently, which is April, I was with my friend Sharon, and we were riding two bicycles. Okay, I was riding a bicycle because anyway, I was riding a bicycle. So there was this guy who was coming towards me, and I don't know what happened. Like we were seeing each other, but I just like I knew, like when we were about 3 meters apart and I knew we would collide. Like I knew hapa tutagongana, but I still didn't do anything. Tulienda tu tukagongana, and guys, I got hurt. I'm sorry if I told you that it was nothing serious. It was very serious. I got really hurt. It was very painful. Actually, it still feels painful. I thought that when people are involved in accidents, they just become numb to pain, but that's not true. That's not true because I felt so much pain. Okay. Um, and I remember with my ankle swollen and a very painful chest, I started thinking about what causes all these accidents. It's when I take a bicycle, I'm usually sure that leo naumia, today I'm going to get hurt. Somewhere, I must get hurt. Okay, so I just sat down. I remember when I got home and I was like, what happens? And one of the things that I realized is that all the times, every time I fall, I usually know that I'm about to fall. Okay, but I usually know that I'm about to fall and choose not to do anything about it. Okay, that's the first thing that I realized. The second thing that I realized is that I panic. I panic and just let things happen. Like I don't take control and choose to change things, you know. Like I saw this guy coming and knew that this is how he would turn and that's how I intended to turn because tulikuwa tunapitana, we were avoiding each other. Okay, that's not the interpretation, but you get what I mean. Like he was coming like this and so my plan was to go like that and he uses the inside. It's not a path, it's not a road, like ilikuwa tu like a path, like a small path. Anyway, that's not the point. But I realized that whenever I see danger while riding a bicycle, I just panic and choose to just let things happen. But now I have decided that I'm going to ride a bicycle very soon when I'm ready. I don't know why I'm not riding. I can just go anyway, but I'm going to ride a bicycle and I want to do things different. And the only way that I could make this decision to do things different and not get hurt and not prepare for getting hurt whenever I take a bicycle is because I had to go back to every time I rode a bicycle and see what causes such what causes the heart, what causes not the heart, what causes the accidents and the injuries. Okay, the second time was something happened at some point in April, and I remember at that time I like felt I had like a familiar response. Okay, and I just felt tired. My heart was just tired, and I remember going to God and being like, God, I don't want you to change the situation this time round. Don't change it. I want you to change my heart. Okay, I want you to deal with my heart in such a way that if such a thing happens, my heart will be ready to deal with it. Okay, so I remember at that time I thought that God would come and work magic, but one of the things that God did with my heart is that he took me back to every time that happened, every time I responded like that. Okay, every time. Okay, every time it's not my response, but not more of my response, but every time such a thing happened. Okay, I don't mention the whole story because I don't think it's the point of what I'm sharing, but every time such a thing happened, he took me back to all of those, and with the help of the Holy Spirit, I was able to see what to do different. Okay, and that's why I'm talking about dealing with my past. Like your past, you need to go back to all those times, because we have a God who works all things together for our good, and unless we are ready to go and search out and seek the good that is in all those experiences, we'll always see our past as the dark, and we'll want to ignore and not we will want to ignore and isolate some experiences and not see them as part of us, because I believe that if we see our lives as lives of people who have a God who works things together for their good, we will treasure every experience, the good and the ugly, because God is still working things together for our good. There's always God that you can get off of that rejection. There's always God that you can get off of that abandonment, of that frustration, off of that failure, off of that like all these things that we want to never remember, there's always good that you can get off of that. It might not be a change of circumstance. Of course, we can't change the past. That's actually true. We usually say that we don't want to focus on the past because we can't change it. It's true that we can't change it, but we can become better when we see what good was in the past. Okay, I hope that really makes sense. Like just going back to the past and saying, so this is what I did here, this is what I should have done different, and looking to apply it in the present and the future. So what happened at that time? Or for instance, you are in a relationship with someone, so what caused me to respond like that? Like what caused me to choose these people? What would I have done different? Okay, like just going back, I'm giving just examples, I'm not referring to anything, but just going back and saying what you would have done different, even especially in situations where you feel like we failed. Go back there, see, probably I should have spent more time here, probably I should have been more intentional with this project or with something. Like just go back there and look to see what good God was working in that moment, then carry it to your present and to your future, because we need to actually see that we are a product of our past. Okay, and actually accept it. I know that's very painful, especially for me. Yeah, it's very hard for me to say this, but we are a product of our past. Not necessarily, even the hurt, the pain, the rejection does, if we actually choose to see it in God's perspective, I hope, yeah, in God's perspective, we'll see that it's not all pain, it's not all rejection, it's not all disappointment. There is wisdom, there is discernment that we can get out of that experience with, and we'll find that all there's the good and the ugly takes part in our becoming, and we not, I won't say like it's part of our becoming. Like we can't ignore a part of our past, because I know the bicycle story does not really make sense when I speak like this, but you get what I'm saying. I think it was very I found that that bicycle story really helped me understand this other situation that I was in. So I just saw it as important for me to even share about it. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. We are not just a product of the good things that have happened to us. We are a product of even the ugly that has happened, the things that we don't like talking about. When we choose to go back with the Holy Spirit and allow Him to just show us what God was working in those moments, we'll see that we were actually being equipped to be better people in the present. In the present, that is the now. For the present, that is the now, and the future. Okay, I think that's it for today's sharing. I hope that this helped you and equipped you for your becoming. All right. I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.